Hi guys! Welcome to the 2023 reading wrap-up. This is my first reading wrap-up. I won't continue to do monthly ones because I feel like I just don't read enough. Maybe I'll do monthly ones on TikTok because it's just not worth it to do a monthly one every month on a full video for it, just because I just don't get through enough books. And it's more fun to me to go through a whole bunch of books at one time when you're watching a YouTube video. So I'll probably continue to do a yearly one, but I have every book that I ever read or every book I've read this year on a note on my phone with my rating. So I'm going to go through in order of everything I read this year, and we'll talk about my rating, just overall thoughts about the book. Yeah. Let's get into it. Actually, first let's go through some stats, the yearly stats. So I set my Goodreads reading goal at 50 books at the end of the year. I didn't make it because I'm a fucking failure. I suck. I hate everything. I don't actually suck. I'm really amazing. Daily affirmations. So I read 37 out of 50 books this year. Which, honestly, I didn't read anything in 2021. I just started back reading in 2022. I read 12 books. And then this year I read 37. So I'm still on an incline. For getting back into reading and not being a reading girl for a long time, I think 37 is really good. I was on track too for a while, and then I went through a really big slump for maybe 3 months, maybe 2 months, and I didn't really get anything done. So if I probably read continuously, I think I could have hit 50. But I'm still proud of 37, and I still think that's a lot. That's a lot. That's more books than most people read a year. So, yeah. My genres are adult fiction, fantasy fiction, literary fiction, mystery, and thriller. Are most of the books I read. I would say I lean more. When I first got back into reading, I think I read a lot of thrillers, and I kind of got bored. I have a whole bunch on my shelf on my TBR still, but they feel like the same story every time. Not the same, but pretty much the same. So I really like a fantasy, and I really love literary fiction. A lot of my favorite books are all literary fiction. They're just good. And I love a book that makes me cry. I need to cry. So let's just jump in straight to the books. First book that I read in 2023 is The Inheritance Games. If you guys don't know, you've been living under a rock and you don't know what this book is about. It's about a billionaire who randomly leaves his fortune when he passes to this random girl that he doesn't know. And she's like, what? And then there's a whole bunch of tricks, very Knives Out-esque. It's pretty cool. I rated this 3.5 stars. I liked the ending a lot, I remember. But everything else, it's YA, and it really feels YA, is what I would say. But it is a good book. Next, I went straight into The Hawthorne Legacy. I read this entire series in a week, so clearly they're really easy bingeable books. But this one just continues the story from where The Inheritance Games ends off. And this one I rated 4 stars. Next and final book in the series, besides the spin-off that I'm not reading, is The Final Gambit, which I rated 4 stars. It continues and ends off the series. This one, when I finished reading it, I rated it 4.5 stars. This was my favorite. But I've since changed my rating to 4 stars, just because, thinking back to it, I'm it was good, but it wasn't 4.5 stars. Then I read The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. And this is the second book to the Atlas 6. This one I rated 2.5 stars. I honestly was really disappointed in this. And it just, it's long. Let me see. It's almost 400 pages. So I guess not that long. But literally nothing happens in this book. When I say nothing happens, I'm you're waiting for one thing to happen for this much. Can you see this? This much. Book, nothing. This stuff happens. And honestly, I don't even think stuff happens in that book. Just nothing happens. It's I love the characters and I love Olivia Blake's writing so much, but can we have some plot? I need some plot to go on here. So I rated this 2.5 stars. I will be continuing the series and reading the Atlas Complex when it comes out in January. Then I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm a Taylor Jenkins Reid stan. I started with Seven Husbands and Daisy Jones and then this one. And I loved it. I rated it 5 stars. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one made me cry. Not as much as Daisy Jones and Seven Husbands, but this one made me cry happy tears, whereas the other ones didn't. This is so good. I love it. I can understand why some people like have critiques for it because it is a bit slow, but I just love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. She like knows how to write to make me feel attached to characters, and that's like all I need to really like love a book. Then I read As Good as Dead. I don't have the physical copy because I borrowed my friend's. This one, if you don't know, is the third book. Yeah, the third book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. This one I rated 4 stars. I don't really have much thoughts on it. Honestly, I think it could move down to a 3-star now that I'm thinking about it again, because I just haven't thought about it. I can't really remember that much plot about it. Yeah, it was fine. Then I read The Kind Worth Killing. I don't have the physical copy again because I think I borrowed the same friend's book. I rated this one 3 stars. This is like a mystery thriller. It was good. Again, I don't have much thoughts. Oh, I do actually remember, because this one is split into 3 parts, I believe. I think the book should have ended at the second part, and the third part was just like addition that it didn't need, in my opinion. And I honestly, I think it brought my rating down. I think if it would have ended earlier, then it would have been a higher rated. But this one's okay. I would recommend it. And then I read 7 Days in June, which was my first romance book that I've ever read. I rated this one 3.5 stars. I remember liking it. But like with this book, I've decided that I love romance in a book, but I think I like it more as a subplot rather than the main thing that's going on, because it kind of gets old. Like, I need some more. And like, yeah, other stuff does happen in this book, but it's very clear that the romance is the main thing, whereas I'd rather have more plot. Then I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is my first translated fiction that I've ever read, which is super fun, super cool, super fresh. I want to read more translated. It's super cool. This one is about like a magical coffee shop where you can go back in time if you sit in like a certain spot in the coffee shop, but you have to get back before the coffee gets cold. I read this because everyone was like, oh my god, it's so good, like it made me cry, and like it's such a short book. Like, usually if you're gonna get me to cry, it needs to be long because like I need to get attached. And this was fine. I know there's like 4 or 3 more books within this story. I'm not gonna read them. This was fine, like for what it was. I rated it 3 stars. But it didn't make me cry. I wasn't as attached as everyone else said that I would be. And then I read one of my favorite books of the year, Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. This book is so good. Literary fiction. I'm telling you, literary fiction. So good. This is about 2 friends that are like creating a video game together, but it's so much more than that. I know like 2 friends making video games does not sound good. It's so much more. It's so much more than that. I love this book so much. 5 stars, if you can't tell. I rated it 5 stars. I love Gabrielle Zevin's writing. It's so beautiful. This one did make me cry. Her writing is so beautiful. I want to read more by her. It's amazing. One of the best books I've read this year. And ever. Then I read The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is a mystery thriller. It's very like ominous vibes about this girl who's like sitting on her porch and watching the house across the lake and stuff that goes on. This one is good. No, it's not. I don't like this book. I don't like it. I rated it 3 stars in my notes. Honestly, I would go as far to say this is 2 stars. It's not good. I was loving it. This much probably. This much in one day. Then this. the next morning I finished it. The plot twist in this book, are you fucking kidding me? The plot twist really pissed me off. It's not set up to be that type of book. And the plot twist, honestly, no. Fucking ruined it. It's not good. It's not good. I liked Riley Sager's writing. I would read more by him because I do think his writing throughout the book was good. The setting I loved. But the plot twist, Riley? Yeah. Yeah.
It's quiet, ain't no back talk. Quiet, ain't no back talk.
Then I read If We Were Villains by ML Rio. My friend recommended this to me. I already had it because she loved it. She rated it 5 stars. I read it in one day. Like, I read it in one sitting. So, like, it's good. Basically, it's like these kids that are, like, in this, like, a Shakespeare school, and drama happens. And a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know how to explain it. Look up the summary. This one I rated 3 stars. I thought it was fine. I don't ever think about it. Besides when it's brought up, and then I get angry because, like I said, they go to Shakespeare all throughout this. You know? Do you see this? Do you see this head? Yeah. The brain's not big enough to understand Shakespeare. My pea-sized brain, I cannot understand Shakespeare. I don't understand what it's saying. And then you get to the end, and this big thing that you're like, and it's written in Shakespearean, and I don't even know what it says. And it, like, hurts me because I want to know, but I don't understand it. I don't like Shakespeare. So that's why it's not that great for me. That's probably why I don't think about it, because I don't know what it's saying a lot of the time. 3 stars. Then I read another Taylor Jenkins read, Carrie Soto is Back. This is my least favorite of her books that I've read. I rated this 4 stars. It didn't make me cry, but I did really love Carrie Soto as a character. I know in Malibu Rising she makes an appearance and she's come off as like really bitchy, really kind of annoying. But she's a badass. She's a fucking badass. I suggest it. I know she's like a tennis player and she comes back to like win her record, basically. And I can understand why you're like, oh, I don't care about a tennis player. It's more than that. And honestly, the parts that talk about tennis, like, interesting. I don't play tennis. Guys, you need to brace yourself for this one. I read after that A Little Life. This book, I'm telling you, 5 stars. This is my favorite book I've ever read, ever. This is my favorite book of all time. Not just of this year. Of every book I've ever read, ever. This book is so fucking good. Do you sob your eyes out? Is it horrible? Yeah. Is it the most beautiful thing that's ever been written? Yes. You should look up the trigger warnings. There's a lot that goes on in this book. A lot of people's critiques of it is that it's trauma porn. I don't think so. I literally have gone back and reread. Like, I have, like, writing. You probably can't see. I have writing, highlights in this book. I've gone through. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever read. It's so fucking good. It's my favorite book of all time. I will never stop recommending people to read it if they can handle it. Like, I understand that not everyone likes to read about this stuff. I get it. I fully understand. But it's the best thing I ever read. It's so fucking good. Best book of all time. 5 stars. Honestly, 7 stars. I know it's out of 5, but 7. Then I remember I finished that. I was in a long book slump. But then I picked up Shadow and Bone by Lynn Bardugo. This is the first book in this series of the Grishaverse. The Grishaverse is 3 series of books that are all in the same universe. And they're kind of connected, but also not really. This is the first book in Shadow and Bone. This one, 2 stars. I did not like this book. And I don't know if it was just because I was coming out of A Little Life. But this book was just boring to me. I know a lot of people in this trilogy, this is their favorite book of the trilogy. Not for me. This is 2-star book. I honestly think it was kind of boring, but I did decide to carry on with the series. After reading Shadow and Bone, I went straight into Siege and Storm, which... This is the best book of the series. I love this book so much. I think it's also the longest. I don't know. But this one is so good. Siege and Storm. I have it written down here, this 4.75 stars. I honestly think it could be 5 stars. I think about it all the time. It's the best book of the series. I love this book. This book is what made me fall in love with fantasy. Because after Shadow and Bone, I was like, this is what fantasy is. This is what fantasy is. But this book, I love you. Perfect. Then I read Ruin and Rising, which is the third book in the Shadow and Bone series. I rated this one 4 stars. This one is also really good. Not as good as the second one, but it's good. I like the way it ends. I know a lot of people hate it, but I like it. I also like the female main character, and I know a lot of you bitches don't. But I think this is good. Then after that, I read 3 fantasy books back to back. I was like, let's take a break. Let's read some nonfiction. Let's read some nonfiction. So I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, which I like this book. Okay, at first I didn't rate it, because, okay, bear with me. This book was so hyped up, like, that it was the best celebrity memoir. It was my first nonfiction book that I've ever read. Besides, like, about the ones about, like, whales and stuff in elementary school that I would check out. I did like this. I think I rated it 4 stars, 3.75 stars. I like it. I love her story. Her writing is beautiful. I know she signed like a book deal to write a fiction book, which I'm super excited to read because I do think her writing is really good. Love that we got to hear her story. And yeah. After that, I was like, I need to get back into my Grishaverse. So I read Six of Crows. I went into this so hyped up. This book is so hyped up. Some people suggest that you should just skip Shadow and Bone series altogether and go straight into this, because this duology is the best thing that you'll read. That's what a lot of people say. That's what people say. Mm-mm. I wasn't blown away by this book. I'm sorry to break it to you. 3 stars. 3 stars. I like Shadow and Bone series more. 3 stars. I haven't read the second book yet. That's how much I didn't care. I know. That's controversial, unpopular opinion. A lot of people love this book, think it's perfection. Sorry. Then I read my first horror book ever. It's called This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I love this book. I rated this book 4 stars, which honestly, I think it could be 4.5, 4.75. I read it in, I think, 2 sittings. I love the talk about grief and death. I think it's so good. At the end, honestly, I don't think I knew what was happening, but I think that was the point. I think that was the point, that you weren't supposed to know what was happening. I really love this book. Then I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, which is a mystery thriller about this girl in the middle of nowhere. I honestly don't remember anything about this book. It's up here as 3.5 stars. I'm lowering it. It's 2.5. I went into this super hyped up because a lot of the booktubers that I watched said it was the best thriller they've ever read. No. No, sweetie. No. It was, no. I don't think I liked it. I think I forced myself to finish it because I don't remember any of it. I blocked the whole thing out. Don't remember the plot twist. I know she's in the middle of nowhere and it's snowy. That's kind of all I remember. Yeah. Then I read Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, which this is like a, I think it says a love story up here, but I know it's more literary fiction than romance. It's about these 2 people that meet. One is like a brainiac, one is like an artist, rebel, and they meet and fall in love. I loved her writing in this again. She had a lot of good like quotes that I really loved, but just the overall story of it, I wasn't blown away with. This was 3 stars for me. Then I got a Kindle. So a lot of the rest of the books that I read were on my Kindle. I do have some physical copies left, but I did read a lot on my Kindle. So I read Magnolia Parks, which I know, romance book, but let's talk about toxic. Read these books. You want to know what toxic is? Let's read. Let's read those books. But I loved it. I ate that shit up. For those of you who don't know, it's like a Gossip Girl in London. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Don't go into this thinking you're getting like the cutest little romance ever. I mean, there's romance, for sure. I rated it 4 stars. I really liked it. Then I listened to an audiobook. It was called The Finalist. It was a thriller or mystery about these students who are competing for a scholarship, so they get put into this like house and they get locked up while they do the scholarship. Somebody dies. 2 stars. It was just kind of underwhelming, and I don't know, this is my first audiobook that I ever listened to, and I don't know if that's why I thought it was underwhelming, or if just the story was underwhelming. I don't know. Then I went into Daisy Hates, which is the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. So in the Magnolia Parks universe, there's Magnolia Parks and there's Daisy Hates books. So each Magnolia Parks has a Daisy Hates book, and they take place at the same timeline, but they're from different characters' POVs. In Magnolia Parks, you get Magnolia and BJ's POV, and then in Daisy Hates, you get Daisy, Christian, and Julian's POV. I rated Daisy Hates 4.75 stars. It was like this close to being 5 stars. I just really love Daisy, and I know a lot of people don't like Christian. I like Christian. I also love Julian. He's badass. Then I read Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home, which is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Parks universe, but the 2nd Magnolia Parks book. And this one I rated 5 stars. Like, at this point, you're just so attached to the characters that you're so invested in anything that happens to them. And you just get so much more of the backstory. Things start connecting about what they talked about in the 1st book. Things are being talked about now, and they make so much more sense because you get the backstory of them. It's just beautiful. Jessa Hastings' writings is so good. Then I read Top Secret, which is like a smutty gay romance book. I just needed some like, I felt like I was reading a whole bunch of like smart books. Not that Magnolia Parks is smart, but like I just needed something quick and easy to binge, you know? And I love this one. I think it gave me a lot of like good stuff. I rated it 4.5 stars. I really liked it. Then I read Want Me, which at this point, after I read Top Secret, I was like, on TikTok, I was like, gay, smutty romance books. Spicy gay romance books. And this one I rated 3.5 stars. I don't even remember the plot of it, if I'm going to be honest, but I remember liking it. Then I read this book called Just a Bit Twisted, which is another gay romance book. Yeah, you guessed it. I rated this one 2.5 stars, because honestly, it wasn't good. But like, it was entertaining. That's all that matters to me. Like, I'm rating based on vibes, not off of literary value. Then I read probably my second favorite book of the year, Fourth Wing. This is basically about Dragon Rider College. Super slay. 5 stars, obviously. If you don't understand my love for this book, then my first video was a fucking Iron Flame reading vlog. Then after Fourth Wing, I read Just a Bit Obsessed, which is in the same series as Just a Bit Twisted. This one I rated 2.5 stars as well. Again, it wasn't good, but it was entertaining. Then I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, which is another psychological, like, horror book. I liked it. I rated it 4 stars. I read it in like, I started it one night, finished it the next morning. It was really quick, easy read. Good. Then I read Just a Bit Unhealthy, which is part of that same series. And I rated this one 1 star. Again, I think this one was entertaining, but it was worse than the first two. Then I read, back on my fantasy kick, The Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is like a vampire Hunger Games, is how it's described. I rated this one 3.5 stars. I thought it was really enjoyable. I tried to read the second book in the series, and I didn't like it. I couldn't get through it, so I will not be continuing on. Then I read, on my Kindle, The Unmaking of June Farrow. At this point, I was waiting for Iron Flame to come out. There was nothing that I wanted to read. How would I describe it? It's about this girl's family line, and they time travel. Yeah. I think that's the best way I can describe it. It was so good. I really liked it. It got me out of like a slump waiting for Iron Flame to release, and I rated it 4.5 stars. And then I read Iron Flame. If you want to know how I feel about this book, go watch my first video. I love it. 5 stars. And then the final book I read this year is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Also a reading vlog I just posted last week. Love it. So good. I'm continuing on currently, and there will be more updates on that in a little bit. I rated this one 3.75 stars. Okay guys, that's all 37 books that I read in 2023. Thank you so much for watching. I love watching these reading wrap-ups, so sit down things aren't like the most fun to or like film or edit, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I love watching them, so I wanted to post one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow my TikTok, my Instagram, all the other bullshit. Bye!